That's a little better. You know, for years they've been telling us to think outside the box. We've got a few minutes to think on top of the thing. We have to, because this world keeps changing, and people need your advice. Anybody in this room, two things. At some point in your life, you had a dream of getting a recreational boat. And two, you actually got a boat. Put your hand up, hold them up a second. Come on, let's see them. Now, did the dream include cleaning that thing? How about spending money on it? Was that part of the dream? So we get the dream of humankind, long life, fountain of youth. What's in trouble? How about pension plans, public pension plans particularly? How about health care? And how about relationships? You are going to get married at 22 and stay with this person 118 years? Or worse, get married at 22, divorced at 41, and pay alimony for 99 years? And some of us are in, and many of your clients are in, what is called the sandwich generation, sandwich between elderly parents and children. But here I am. I'm 120 years old. My 140-year-old parents are living with me. 100-year-old kids just moved back in. So we can have a little fun with it, but let's not miss the serious point. If that wonderful change were to happen, enormously difficult issues wouldn't just be on the table, they would be smack in our face. Real change is difficult, and people need your advice. You want to go to the movies tonight? Now, when I was a boy, that required a yes or no answer. How many theaters were within range? One. How many screens did it have? One. So you either wanted to go or you didn't. Now I live in Boulder, Colorado, a small city. And within 20 minutes of my house, there are 46 screens. The last time I looked, they were playing 17 different movies. I need an advisor to pick a movie. People need advice. You go in to get an ice cream cone, you're going to get two different scoops. The ice cream store has 31 flavors. They've got 7 kinds of cones and cups, and they've got 24 toppings. Do you know how many choices that is? 10,416. People need advice. And now let's take something really simple, insurance and investing. Sure, more than ever in history, people need advice, but they don't just need any advice. They need personal, face-to-face advice from great advisors like the people in this room. People need your advice. Here's a few questions that might be able to help. The first one is, what worries you? What concerns you? You probably know that one, but a little heads up. Do not ask a man my age what keeps him up at night. You don't want to know. Ask him what worries him, what concerns him. Here's a question you probably don't know. Who's my client? Who's my client? So I want you to imagine that you and your spouse or partner are all ready to become my client. You're all ready, but I have one more question. Who do you want my client to be? Who do we want your client to be? Us. We're the only ones in the room. Oh, I see people. You see, I see you now, but I also see you in 25 years when you want to retire. I see your children, I see your grandchildren, I see your charities. If there's ever a difficult decision to be made and I need to look out for my client, I want you to tell me who you want my primary client to be. So let's assume they tell you that the primary client should be their children in the event of premature death. Anybody here have any ideas on how to deal with that? Or if they tell you it's them if they become disabled, might that be something you can deal with pretty easily? Sure. But let's say they say it's them in 25 years when they retire. 2 years later, they don't fund their pension plan. They don't save for retirement. They had pressing needs, a sports car and a kitchen. And the two of them now just spent your client's retirement money. And because you asked, you have the right and the responsibility to stand up for your client and to tell them they can't keep doing that. Now, they will have forgotten. And they'll say, what do you mean, we're your client? Oh, no. You told me that you in now 23 years is my client. Enjoy the kitchen, enjoy the car, but let's take a look at what happened to my client's retirement so you don't do that again. Ask your clients who they want the primary client to be. And once you've got that, then ask about other clients that you care about, like their spouse or children if they die prematurely, like them if they become disabled. Next question. What's more important to you, absolute or relative returns? Absolute or relative returns? Don't ask it that way, ask it this way. Let's say that we do a financial plan for you, and the plan shows that to achieve your financial dreams, you need a 5% annual rate of return. At the end of year one, you've gotten 11%. Are you happy? You need 5, got 11, you happy? Okay, yeah, sure. Then you find out all your friends got 14. Are you still happy? You see, if the client is okay with that, it means that the client understands the relationship of risk and reward. It means the client understands that they want an absolute return that achieves their goals. But if they're not happy with that, they're not happy, it means they don't understand, and that you need to talk to them. They are interested in relative returns, and you need to talk to them about risk and reward before they get upset. Let's say that you have a client, and there were many hands, who the loss of opportunity would bother them more, and they want to embark on an aggressive financial plan without the insurance protections that you know they need. If that happens, take them for a hike in British Columbia, Canada. Take them to the Capilano Bridge. It's a suspension bridge. It goes over a ravine. It moves. How fast would you be willing to walk across this thing? Now look, there are guardrails. Great time to be short. Came to right about here. However fast you'd walk across this thing, how fast would you walk if I took that guardrail off? Take another look. And we didn't even talk about bad weather. Insurance and the other conservative investments you offer are a guardrail that gives your clients the ability to move more quickly toward achieving their financial goals. It doesn't slow them down, it speeds them up. You see, that's another reason people need your advice. Remember when you first started? Remember when you first started, when you didn't know the answer to a lot of questions? I mean, around any corner could be humiliation. You just didn't know. But sometimes it was scary, but it was exciting. And sometimes when you were out there on that limb, sometimes you got creative, didn't you? And it was almost, you didn't know where it came from. Where's this coming from? These are coming out of my mouth. This is good. Where's it coming from? But when you've been in the business a while, when you've qualified for MDRT, congratulations. You have the answer to most of the questions. That's great. But what about that creative edge? Here's a way to be creative. And you're going to have to be. Because if they come back again and say, no, I do not know what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? All I have to offer is some short ball guy at MDRT told me to try this thing. You're going to do better than that. You see, you have to. Because people need your creativity. People need your expertise. And most of all, people need your advice.